So come on in, come on in. So I just want to make this live quick. I finally got my okay, you're working right. Anyway, yo, just something I want to touch on, family. Right quick, shalom, peace to y'all, to the eunuchs, trans out there watching the video. I got something coming up dealing with more of that particular topic, but also just wanted to get into but something I want to touch upon, which one of the main things I said I wasn't really going to touch upon this channel lately anymore, really like that, but it's polygyny because I'm at the point in my life where, you know, women going to do, people going to do what they want to do, women going to do what they want to do. So if you're that dude, she going to choose you. She don't mind sharing you with polygyny. So what? It just have to be the right guy, whatever that guy is to those particular women or that women, whether you white, tall, light skin, dark, whatever she figured she cannot replace, she has no issue being with that man. And she figured that man cannot be replaced, right? So there's no woman, black woman over the age of 25 that I've talked to, that others have talked to, that didn't never share a man. That they knew was married, but they didn't have a problem with him, right? So yeah, so best believe that she's probably the age of 20, over 25, most likely, especially she was dating and she didn't get married early in life. Most likely she had shared a man before. That's just how it is. All right, believe that. Uh, like I said, if she was dating, unless she's a virgin, right, in this country. So what I was saying, like, I was in a little chat, whatever, and you have ones who they have a certain ones about women, black women, right, have an issue with when black men who are not making you, for any black woman who come on my live or on this live who's want to tell me that they're not going to share a man or they're not going to share their man, I'm not telling you the Most High, His Word, Isaiah chapter 4 and 1. And that day 7 women should take hold of one man, saying, let's eat our own bread, take away let's eat our own bread, wear our own apparel. Only let us have thy name to take away our reproach. Give us thy name to take away their reproach or their shame. So you're going to do it, and you're already doing it. It's depending on who you want to do it to. So it might not be a godly man, but you'll do it with a wicked thug guy, or you'll do it with a guy that you figure has a lot of fame, a lot of money, whatever. So the guys you figure is not that dude, you're going to do it to, you're going to share it later on. All right, when you know, for the ones of y'all that's left. Okay, but with that being said, for ones who want to come up here and say, well, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, or, you know, men try to use the Bible to try to justify polygyny or whatever, it's kind of like ironic because anytime when it comes to something that you think that only benefits the men, women have a taught in this culture to shun it out or do away with it, right? Or I don't want to hear this, I don't want to hear all that. But they don't want to talk about where polygyny could or was forced on the man, meaning that if, let's say, you was my sister-in-law and I couldn't stand you, right, I would have to take you. If my brother had passed and y'all never had no children, right, I would have to take you, marry you, to keep my brother's name going, to basically keep the blood, to keep the lineage going at the part where the eldest son could inherit it. So I would basically have to, like, get you pregnant so this child could, and you know, could inherit it, right? So since y'all had none, so this would kind of be looking out for my brother, right? Being my brother's keeper in that way. So a lot of y'all would say this stuff, but nowhere in the Bible did the God mandate or say a man was supposed to have one on wife and blah. But a lot of y'all never read the Bible. A lot of y'all don't know the difference between the Pentateuch, you know, the Tanakh, the Gospels, the epistles. Y'all don't know that. What is scriptures? What is gospels? What is epistles? Right? Y'all don't know, but y'all got to make up that God didn't say this, God didn't say that. Nowhere is it in the Bible. But y'all don't read the Bible. Y'all don't use the Bible for anything. You only use the Bible when you're in jail or, you know, you're in a hospital or something like that. But when the good days and the bad days, y'all don't use the Bible, the Bible, for anything. Y'all do not do it. Y'all do not do it. Y'all do not read. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, it says in the Bible, right? It's funny that y'all, a lot of y'all wouldn't want an attorney that wasn't prudent in the law, that didn't have enough knowledge on the state when it comes to like legal matters, especially if it's dealing with criminal or dealing with civil, whatever. Y'all wouldn't like that attorney. Y'all say, okay, on to the next one. But y'all don't read or know enough of the 613 laws that were in the Bible. All y'all know is the 10 Commandments. But y'all don't know anything outside of that. There's 613. And y'all know there's more than that. That's when somebody tell y'all that, well, can't nobody keep all those laws? America has hundreds of thousands of laws. America has laws for just about everything. Okay? And it could change every 4-5 years. Every 2, it could change, right? Depending on the votes and all that. But the Most High laws, it might have took maybe hundreds or maybe 1,000 years before people even thought about trying to either modify or just say, okay, let's change this, right? When it came to like the Sabbath day and the Sabbath day journey we find in the New Testament and all that. But a lot of y'all don't know what adultery is, and y'all try to skip around like y'all don't know what adultery is. And that's a man who lays with another man's wife. That's why you can't find nowhere in the Old Testament or the New Testament where where a woman had put her husband to death for laying with another woman. Right? You don't find where a woman gave her name to her husband. You don't find that, Old or New Testament. The Pharisees, they were trying to put this woman to death for committing adultery. And what is adultery? A man who lays with another man's wife. But you're supposed to put the man who laid with your wife and your wife, that's what you're supposed to put them to death according to doing it that way. So that's why Yeshua said he without sin cast the first stone, because not only are the Sadducees, Pharisees, and all of them they're guilty, they didn't do it the right way. If she was caught in the act, she couldn't commit adultery by herself. So why you just got the woman out here, but you don't have the man that she committed adultery with? Because the people, one of the guys, because the group that was about to put them to death, one of them was covering for one of their buddies. So that's what it was. They want to get rid of her and not get rid of the man that committed adultery, because they knew who the guy was, and since he was in their club, they wasn't gonna give him up and put him to death, but just put her to death, right? They save their own. Yeah, so Yeshua was hip to that. You can't really hide them from Yeshua. You know what I'm saying? From who the world called Jesus Christ, known as Yeshua HaMashiach. But one of the things, again, to that, a lot of ones don't want to talk about, when you bring up polygyny, they only try to make it seem like it's something that was just oppressive to women. They don't want to hear that, and blah, 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 and, that oppressive text, but they never go into how men could be forced into polygyny. And we're going to read from, and how we get into that, we're going to read from Deuteronomy 25, chapter 25, verse 5 through 9, right? And this is the marriage duty of the surviving brother, all right? And it reads, verse 5, if brothers dwell together, and one of them dies and has no son, the widow of the dead man shall be married to a stranger outside. The widow of the dead man should not be married to a stranger outside of the family. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her, take her as his wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. And it shall be that the firstborn son which she bears will succeed to the name of his dead brother, that his name may not be blotted out of Israel. But if the man does not want to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate of the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up a name to his brother in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Verse 8, then the elders of the city shall call him in to speak to him. But if he stands firm and says, I do not want to take her, verse 9, then his brother's wife shall come to him in the presence of the elders, remove his sandals from his feet, spit in his face, spit in his face, remove the sandal from his foot, spit in his face, and answer and say, so shall it be done to the man who will not build up his brother's house, and his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him who had his sandals removed. Now that's the New King James Version. The regular KJV, says they have a shameful name amongst in Israel, right? So that's right there. Now I'm gonna read it again. Come on, for those who just tuning in, I'm gonna go through this again. Now, showing you how you could be forced to take your sister-in-law, former sister-in-law, you have to take her, even though she wouldn't be a single mother, she would probably most likely not be a virgin, right? Because they was, because like I said, consummate the marriage in the Hebrew way, you usually have sex, right? That would really what made it official. From y'all being virtual husband and wife, betrothed, to now, okay, it's official. That, and the token of her virginity that she bled out, et cetera, right? And you have the white cloth to prove that, okay, yeah, she was a virgin, right? That lining, not that, Okay, so we're going to read it again. Deuteronomy 25. This is when polygyny was forced on the man. It's forced on the man. You really can't find polygyny really forced on the woman. Marriage in itself is forced, but far as polygyny on, was really not forced, but we find where it is. This is where it is. Deuteronomy 25, verse 5. All right. And if the brethren dwell together and one of them die, this is KJV version, and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her, and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her. And it shall be that the firstborn which shall bear it and shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel. And if the man like not to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Then the elders of his city shall call him and speak unto him, and if he stand to it and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoe from off his foot, and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto that man that will not build up his brother's house. And his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him that has his shoe loose. Thank y'all for the whole divine word. Like I said, that is the word right there. So for y'all to try to make it seem like there's nowhere in the Bible that polygyny could not be forced or was not given to man. Of course, we have Deuteronomy as well, where if a man have two wives, one loved, one hated, and one say, well, that's a statute, it's not a mandate, and that's right. But we have a situation where you would be mandated to take on a woman that you probably didn't want to take, and if you didn't take her on, you could be given a shameful name. You could have your face spit into. All right. You could have your shoe loose. You could have a shameful name. You could be shamed for not marrying a woman that you didn't want to marry. So where's the outcry? Okay? Where's the outcry? So patriarchy was at times kind of more harder on the man than it was on the woman, because as a man, you were given everything, and to whom much is given, much is required, as the good book says. So, you're more responsible. So this is why we see this happening in the scriptures, where you could be forced to take on a wife that you didn't want to marry. So Deuteronomy 25 is other parts as well. But this is one of the samples. So for ones who make these, oh, well, I would never do that. I don't want to take on a man and share a man or whatever. But they never say how the man would have to take you on if you already got, two children by this woman. You got, probably already a wife already or two wives already. You're not trying to take on another one, but you would have to take on your brother's wife if he passed on. This is what was forced onto somebody like me, right? Let's go back in time. Like me, right? And we know how it is with in-laws. You probably had this a sister-in-law you can't stand, or a brother-in-law you can't stand them, right? You would be mandated to take them on. So polygyny is not just a thing where it's just, oh, it's all about the men's benefits and the women. No, like you could be forced into this as well. Men could be forced into a polygyny. And also for certain reasons. And that was to keep the family name. And this is when we go into how eunuchs or trans, those who had their body parts removed in Numbers, right there, Deuteronomy, where you could not come in, to the congregation because you couldn't have children. So a lot of things was based on having children in the time. So when people see, well, I would get jealous, I would get upset, and I wouldn't want that. Everything was built off of having children. So the women didn't have time to argue and fight about, hey, this my man, this my husband or whatever, because if they didn't have any children, they wouldn't really get anything. It was all about having children and raising up the name of Israel so it would be great in number. All right. This was the main focus at the time. So you're looking at things from a modern, contemporary, Americanized viewpoint when it comes to marriage, whether it be monogamy, a man taking one wife in the Bible, because a lot of y'all struggle with that, just doing that. The order of the virtuous woman, whether a man has more than one wife, just you being a woman and a man being a godly man. What is that according to the Bible? Being a man according to the Bible, not by the Western standard, but according to modern, but according to the Bible. What is a woman? And a holy woman according to the holy scriptures, according to the Bible. And what is you feel me? So, like, what is it? Let's do that. And you're dealing with a different culture. The Bible says you should be a peculiar people unto me. When speaking about Israel, he said, I didn't choose y'all because y'all were the most people where we are now, but I chose y'all because y'all were the least. But y'all will be a peculiar, almost a strange, kind of weird people. There's no people like us. The music that we create, say we are the form of all things. The things that we do, the fashion, the style, our lingo, our hair, our texture, everything about us is unique and different. So you should be a holy people. The Most High say you should be holy because I am holy. Not Pentecostal, not this, that, be holy because what does holy mean? Set apart. Separated, set apart. That's what holy means. So ones have to know that. Ones have to get that. So when you read certain precepts in the Bible when it deals with polygyny that you're not familiar with, there's things that I used to say, there's no way that the Bible said through faith Abraham became a friend of God. And I had my mind made up that there's no way that you could ever become a friend of God, right? Because God is too this and God for any mortal man to ever be on a friend level with God. And my mother, rest in peace, she was like, yeah, it's in the Bible, just read it. I said, oh, okay, because I was up and down like, no, that's not what there can't nobody. And it said, through faith, Abraham became a friend of God. And I read it. And I was like, okay, it is there. I said, well, maybe it's not. That's probably not what it's saying. Let me go into the Greek, Hebrew. Found out, yeah, that's what it's saying. Abraham became a friend of God. A friend. I said, okay. So you know what I did? I didn't keep chanting or trying to debate and trying to argue my mother or argue scholar. I accept that this is the word of God. Whether I liked it or not, this is what God said. And then I learned to not learn. I loved it because I found that's what the Most High said. So a lot of y'all don't have a love of God, genuine love. Y'all just have a love of what makes you feel good. Whatever precept can make you feel good about being a sinner, about being whatever, or you don't have to change anything. You don't have to do anything different, whatever. You can still have your cake and ice cream and eat it too. That's when y'all love God. But when God says something that you're not accustomed to, y'all will fight tooth and nail that it could not be what God said. And Revelations, in the end of the Bible, the Revelations, the last part of that, in Revelations 22, tells that what? You should not add or take on from the word. And the person that add or take on from the things that are written in this book, the plagues of this book should be added unto you. So y'all want to take away, and a lot of y'all don't want to go into the word. Y'all come on Twitter, y'all come on whatever. Oh, it doesn't say it in the Bible, but y'all don't bring out no precept. Y'all don't bring out the passage. Y'all don't bring out the scriptures. Just like when people say, well, there doesn't say that about trans and eunuchs or whatever, about eunuchs, whatever, even about eunuchs. Well, they can't come into the congregation. Then you go into Isaiah 56, what's it, 3 through 5, and I mean, you go through other parts where you say eunuchs have a promise in a special name, and what were eunuchs considered according to ancient scholars, right, of antiquity? What would they described as? And usually, if you how people talk about trans or LGBT, but primarily trans people today, that's how people talked about eunuchs in the day. And other cultures, most cultures, eunuchs were known as a third gender or a gender variant type of person, all right, or individual. Ah, who was in the king courts and had high regard, and especially and kings were known to have relations with eunuchs as well. Okay, and this is why you have the rapper. I'm gonna do a video on that. Your rapper, what's his name? Lil Wop say he feel like a king with trans and femme and all. That's a whole nother. But to stay on topic with this, I'm about to leave out with this. But yeah, just keep that in mind. That the word is the word. It stands the test of time. That's how you know it's the truth. So just because ones of y'all don't like it, a lot of y'all women, or even some of y'all brothers or men out there don't like it, it's still the test of time. It's still here. And after you do this and do that right there, the word is still going to be here. Period, because it's the truth. You can't have a lie without truth. Like I say, dark without night, night without dark, you can't have it. So it's still going to be here in some way, some form or fashion. You can take the scriptures out and it's still going to be, as the Bible said, in the inward parts of those who love and cherish the Most High and His Word. And even ones who try to go, well, Christ said this. Adultery is when, also when a man has a wife and he lays with another woman, not his wife. Y'all don't know what that's talking about because y'all don't know the culture of the word, of the scriptures, and of the people where you hopefully descend from, if you from the same bloodline I'm from. If you are so-called black or American or black Caribbean, whatever, come from the, that, oh my goodness, that's not what it's applying and what it's saying. And it's speaking of that you would cause that woman to commit adultery because she's not put away. Because if you don't put away your woman for the cause of fornication, meaning that she committed, adultery, suspect of her committing adultery, and you go to the Levite, this is Numbers chapter 5, and he do a thing that causes the curse to come upon her if she be lying about her laying with a man that wasn't her husband, and her thoughts swell, and she has what people call abortion, but a miscarriage, that you could write a divorcement and say, hey, I can't find the guy, but I have enough proof and enough witnesses that, you file, write that bill of divorcement, and she's out of there, right? That if it wasn't for that, something sexually immoral, that woman committed adultery, and you, by taking out that woman who is not officially put away, and you go get a wife saying that, hey, this is my first wife, I'm doing this over like that, you cause problems on yourself and cause problems for her if she married somebody else because she's not officially put away. So that's what it is saying. It's not saying that the man is committing adultery by having another woman. All right. So that's what it's saying in the proper context. And people have to get the context of it. All right, and what it's saying. But that's what the word is really saying. And that's what Yeshua is saying, what Moses and what Isaiah said. Because Yeshua is the word. He is the word that became flesh. In John 1:1. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, the word was with God, and then the word became flesh. So that's what we're dealing with in the quote unquote New Testament, in which the Testament don't start until there's really bloodshed. Because they tell you that in Hebrews that the Testament on covenant doesn't start until there's bloodshed to the sacrifice. But let's just what Matthew we could call it New Testament. That this is the word being made flesh. So what Isaiah said was that's Yeshua's word. Yeshua is the word. The Son is the word. The Father, the Holy Spirit, which is the feminine, the Holy Spirit, feminine, Father. Okay, the Word is the Son. The Son is the Word. Okay, and the Word became flesh. So when you read Isaiah and you read in the Word, that's Yeshua. Period. So you can't love Yeshua's word, and then when you read Isaiah 4:1 saying that day several women should take hold of one man, because that was Yeshua speaking. That's Yeshua's word right there. Yeshua's the word. You cannot. And Yeshua spoke on eunuchs as well in the New Testament. Yeshua spoke on eunuchs and the promise concerning eunuchs in Isaiah. So Matthew, Yeshua spoke on eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He spoke on eunuchs in Isaiah. So it's the word. It's the word. All right. You reading the word being manifest. That's why you got the red letters, because okay, this is Yeshua speaking, because you got the witnesses in the Gospels, and they got different, little differences of how it went down. That's why you have the red letters. But when you go into the scriptures, especially the prophecies and the prophets, that's Yeshua all day, every day, just talking and speaking. So rightfully divide the word of truth. A workman need not to be ashamed, but rightfully dividing the word of truth, as it says in the epistle. So you gotta learn what is the law, what is the Tanakh, what is the Gospels, what is the epistles. Revelation says you gotta know that. So what you're reading. So not everything is scripture in the Bible as well. Epistles are letters. But anyway, okay, yeah, that's basically what I want to say at this time for this right here. I'm glad none of y'all came on this live talking this stuff. I don't want to share my man. Hey, go do what you gonna do, because you're gonna do it anyway. But trust and believe, and when that time comes, if you be around, you're going to do it, or you could just get left. You don't have to. Hey, nobody's saying that. And go to a guy video who talks about monogamy, who preaches that. Go get with him. I'm pretty sure he's probably single. Go with him and hey, live your life and wait till he have another woman on the side on about on the day of his funeral. All right, this is James Speed. Shalom. I'm out, and y'all be good.